So are you able to get on?
Just to say a few things real quick, right before we call the meeting to order. Hey, we are so grateful for everybody that's turned out today. And so grateful for the feedback that I think each one of us commissioners have had over this ordinance and everything. But that's what government is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about public involvement and making sure that the will of the public is carried out. Just want you to know that whether or not something is presented doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's going to happen. But I think that each of us have seen in our lives how government has started out with doing something so-called well-intentioned or had good intentions to it. And then depending on who's gets in government or who's in power, that those things can be utilized for ill will and things that don't suit the public's interest. And we just want you to know that as a commission that we are here and elected to represent you, and that also that we stand for the principles that we feel like Catron County has been built on and has existed here. And we're all about the freedoms that Catron County is about. So with that in mind, we'll call this meeting to order, and we will ask Mr. Hayden forward to give our opening prayer. Ms. Audrey McQueen to lead us in the pledge.
Our kind and gracious Father in heaven, we thank you so much for allowing us to live in this beautiful country, this beautiful county, and we thank you for bringing us all together as friends and neighbors in this place at this time. Father, we pray that you open our hearts, our minds, allow us to make decisions that are beneficial to the county and the health of the county. Father, we continue to pray for rain. We ask that you bring moisture to this very grateful ground and relieve the anxieties of your children. Father, we do thank you for the rain that has fallen and the blessings you give us. We pray to you through Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag to the republic which stands one nation, God, and indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We will ask for an approval of the agenda. Is there any discussion?
All in light of the public that's here and their valuable time, I'm going to recommend or request that we move under action item 9A to come up directly after approval of the minutes.
I'll second that. So there is a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other?
I don't see any other changes. Did you see anything, Audrey?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. So Sherry, do we need to exceed the minutes again with that in mind? So,
No,
or did we just, you just? did
Yeah,
that?
we need to,
just corrected the agenda, so we'll approve that sheet.
Okay. So just to let you know, in case anybody's unclear of what we just did, we approved the minutes, but the agenda, sorry. And, well, I'll comment on this right after the approval. So is there any discussion on the approval of minutes?
I motion we approve the minutes of July 16th.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now what just took place is we approved the agenda with the stipulation and we moved 9A, the consideration of ordinance of public nuisance. And unfortunately, this is before public comment and before public hearing. And we still do want to hear your input and things. But we felt like this was in the best interest of the meeting and of time concerning here today. So with that in mind, we will now go to consideration of ordinance, public nuisance. Is there any discussion?
I make the motion that we table it. I just told her to deny it.
I'll second the motion that we deny the ordinance.
It's been motioned and second that we deny the ordinance. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Now, with that in mind, again, I am so grateful for the public input and concern that we've had over certain things. And we actually welcome that and hope that we would have public input on everything that the commission does. Because it helps us to gauge where the county is and stuff. And we still want a good meeting today. And so we're going to open this time up to public comment. And during this portion of the meeting, we welcome your suggestions, want to hear your concerns. This isn't a question and answer period, so we can't interact with you in that way. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. The county commission is not able to act on matters discussed during public comment. Speakers are requested to state their name for the record.
Can I say something?
You bet.
Since we have so many of you here, we are going to put all of your comments on the record, and the county clerk has asked that you please state your name clearly so that your comments can be properly identified.
Okay, we'll turn the time over to the public. Yes, sir. Mr. Plumker.
Plumker. I'm here to comment on the closure of our reserve Catton County Clinic and Kumado Clinic. My understanding, the county owns the clinic. I don't know about the building and model. The county has, I think, built the building. If I remember correctly, after it was built, it had a lot of leakage. The county had to hire or get the contractor to redo the roof and stop the leak. Then go by several years and they put in not an addition but a remodeling to put in the dental clinic, and it's quite a loss for the community to lose our clinics, and not only the dentists but also healthcare. Anyway, I'm just real concerned that if the county, you can't ask questions of you, but if the county owns the building, what's going to take place and the equipment in the building and a lease rate, you get somebody else. That's basically my concern.
Thank you. So normally we don't comment on this. Can we go ahead and comment on this now? Okay. So just so that all the public knows here and stuff, and Deb, or unless you want to comment, I just want to, so that everybody knows, because, you know, that was nice, having medical services here within the county and stuff. The building up at Kumado was actually owned by the school, and that took place there, but like PMS here, we had no control over that. And actually the county was paying for all the utilities and for the upkeep of the building, all the improvements, and we were not charging PMS anything. They were not paying anything for that building. So they had no overhead costs in buildings. I don't know what their agreement was with the Kumado School, but I think it was almost similar. Right now, Mrs. Mahler has been in talks with the Cowboy Clinic, and that will be up on the website as soon as there's progress there. There's interest there of them taking over the building. We as a county, we're just fixing to put another $100,000 on the interior of that clinic to bring it more up to date and in line so that medical services are provided to the citizens of our county so that we don't have to go out of state or 2 hours away for something. So normally we wouldn't comment, but I'm just wanting everybody to know that that is something that's on our minds and something that we're trying to find the best avenue. And that information will be on the county website as soon as possible and as soon as anything's done with that. But thank you for bringing up that concern. Okay, now we'll turn this time back up. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Kendra Burton. I'm actually from the Castron County Clinic, Cowboy Clinic.
Oh, perfect.
We actually came here and wanted to present to you today the idea of taking over the space of that clinic. We are talking with EMS and trying to make this smooth transition. We want everybody's records. We want everybody covered. We want to make sure that you guys aren't losing the care that you have been getting, and actually our goal is to improve it. So we would like to come before the commission and let you guys know that we are interested in filling that space, and we feel very capable of filling that space.
All right, super glad that you're here. All right. Next.
I'm Patty Sheehan from Kamado, and I appreciate everything that you've said, Buster, about the public being informed and knowing what's going on and being able to work with you guys. We need to make the meeting inclusive again, so that we don't have to drive an hour, 100-mile round trip, come down here to see what's going on. And I would also like to all of the motions, action items that you have on here, you have a brief description of what it is, but we have absolutely no idea what it actually does. We don't know how much money it is. We don't know where the money is coming from, what it is actually going to do. Is there any way that you could put those up on your website so that we, the people, when it comes up on the agenda, we can look at it and go, okay, this is a good thing. Well, maybe we're not too sure about this, or where's the money going? Or where's the money coming from? Because I know the county does a lot with grants. So it'd be nice if we could at least know what's going on as far as that goes. But I really appreciate it. I have looked and looked and looked for this ordinance that you guys put out. Nowhere on your website could I find it. And I'm pretty good about finding things on my website. I can't find any of these resolutions that you're looking at or action items. They're nowhere. Even some of the resolutions that you've already passed aren't showing up on the website. So it's really hard for us as citizens to stay informed of what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Ron Keller. I'm representing the New Mexico Pilots Association. I'm from Valencia County. I'm pleased to announce our 9th annual Gila Regional Fly-In to be held here at Reserve Airport, August 29th through the 31st. Each year, that weekend fly-in brings in somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for the local community. You add everything up. We are expecting pilots from 4 states to participate. There's going to be an open house as usual on the Saturday, August 30th, from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock for anybody in the community that wants to come out and take pictures of airplanes, talk to pilots, etc. And I would like to say that, this is the 9th annual, so we've been doing it here at Reserve Airport for quite a number of years. I would really appreciate the support from the county, with respect to providing porta potties for the event and making sure the parking and camping areas are mowed. It's been very good. I get great comments back from pilots on the airport up here. And we're looking forward to it again this year. I on the agenda, I'm particularly interested in action items D and E since they pertain to the airport. So I'm looking forward to see what that's about. And my final point is the Federal Aviation Administration is seeking comments on the Arizona airspace proposal. This is something that's probably familiar with. I think the county commented to the Air Force on that about low-level military jet flights, fighter aircraft flights over this area, over what's called the Reserve Military Operations Area. The Air Force has modified their overall proposal slightly, but they still want to fly supersonic as low as 5,000 feet above the ground. So less than a mile up. If this goes through, they could be flying supersonic, which would create sonic booms. I have a whole bunch of reasons that I'm opposed to that. Safety reasons, because we recreational backcountry pilots fly in this area, and we don't need supersonic aircraft at the same altitudes that we're going to be at. And it also has a lot to do with their dropping of flares. They want to have lower altitudes on where they can drop their flares. They claim that's safe and they won't start fires, but there has been case histories where flares have started fires. That's the last thing you need to hear. But I just want to make sure you're aware that the FAA is seeking these comments, and the comment period will close September 19th. If you need the information on that, I do have that. I can provide that to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Yes, sir. Mr. Sheehan.
My name's Greg Sheehan. I live up in Starfire, and I have concerns about this public nuisance things. I know you tabled it, but that doesn't mean it goes away.
No, we didn't table it.
They didn't.
We,
Well, I thought you said.
well, it was just misspoke right there at first, but it was denied. It
Okay.
was basically struck down, so.
Well, all right, then I don't have a whole lot to say about it then.
Yes,
You
sir.
struck it down, but I do
but
have
you're welcome.
concerns.
No, we still welcome your comments.
Okay, well,
Yes, sir.
I would just like to say, one of the concerns is why does this even come up? I mean, where we are, what West Coast person, woke person, brought a lot of this stuff up? I'm not saying it's all bad. There's some good stuff in there, blight and things like that, fire hazards. But, you know, some of this stuff is just way out there. I mean, like the noise thing. I mean, do you realize 80 decibels is nothing? I mean, a pickup truck, a 1-ton pickup truck going across a moderately rough dirt road creates 88 to 90 decibels just driving by in a diesel truck. You add an empty trailer to that, oh my gosh. Now, I know that a ordinance enforcement was not going to sit by a subdivision to write a citation. We don't need that. But what if we have some West Coast woker person, like we have a lot of West Coasters, moving into this county, want to get away from their stuff, and then they bring it here, and then they want to, you know, they create a complaint. Well, then you have to investigate it. That's a problem to me. Noise carries here. I'm 5 miles in from 36, 10 miles from Highway 60, and I hear trucks coming from there. Based on how the wind's going in the canyons, that's just a fact of the matter. And so I won't waste a lot of time on this. The last thing I want to ever see is our sheriff's deputies trying to enforce this, that they have enough things to do. And they are our neighbors and our friends, and we don't need them to be treated like LEOs across our nation. They are our friends and neighbors, and we need to keep them that way. So I'll leave it at that. And I also desire. I'm busy. You don't see me at these meetings very often. I am a busy person, but I would like to be able to take the time and watch this on Zoom. I don't mind taking a couple hours out of my day, but when I have to run 4 hours traveling and the expense of that, I will take the time to watch these meetings on Zoom if I can find interest in it. And so I would just encourage that. We have so many other issues in this county that I think that needs to be addressed, like the health plan, the sewer lagoon in Camaro. and no economy, no housing for people. Is that one of the reasons why PMS is getting out? They don't have housing for people? I mean, that is an issue. And then we have such aging infrastructure. I know we can't fix all this stuff all at once, but it needs to be kept alive on the boiler pot. So,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Shade. I live out near Red Hill. I'm the president of the Cimarron Ranch Landowners Association. I have communicated by email with each of the commission members. I'm going to have slightly contrary to you. I'm not some West Coast left. I live in ranching in southern Arizona. Point is that we have had an increase of many of the types of complaints this ordinance covers. And although we do have CC&Rs, we are very limited in what we can do. So I'm going to talk about a little problem we had out there where neighbor A installed on their property, on a building, lights that shined into neighbor B's upstairs bedroom window. Neighbor B talked to neighbor A. Neighbor A told him, blank you, this is my property, I'm going to do whatever I want. Neighbor B was an elderly couple. They tried to get the board out there to do something, which I was not on. The board couldn't do a thing about it. They called the state of New Mexico, which has a dark sky act. Inspectors aren't out during the day. So this elderly couple, I believe this was some years ago, contacted Capitol County. Capitol County couldn't do a thing about it. So what the elderly couple had to do is move from their bedroom to a downstairs bedroom. So while neighbor A certainly had the right to put lights on their property, neighbor A did not have the right to disturb the right and quiet enjoyment of neighbor B. Now, I'm not suggesting this ordinance was a fix-all, and I don't agree with all parts of it. But I would look at parts of that as protecting everybody's property rights. So I think what eventually happened is the elderly couple had to lawyer up, and neighbor A backed down. But they were asking for help from this county where they pay taxes. This county couldn't help them because there was nothing the county could do. Now, I understand people's concerns, and you certainly, sir, have some very valid comments. We're seeing it out there. This year, for the last 9 months, we've had 12 real estate closings out there. We've approved 2 houses, which in the big scheme is not much. For us out there, that is a lot. So we are having an increase of the kinds of problems you have where you have people living in somewhat relative close proximity to each other. Our hands are tied. To amend the CC&Rs is a big hurdle for us. We'd like to. We can't. So if folks can't get help from the state of New Mexico and they can't help from their county, what are they going to do? So again, I understand your comment. We're seeing that out there too. But again, I'm just pointing this out that there's a balance. Property rights go both ways, and these folks, they had no recourse. They were going to have to spend money on an attorney to fix their problem. So thank you for your time.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
I think there's the next statement I can follow up on that. My name is Tammy Chapman. I live in Bluefield subdivision. I came to this board for president county previous town manager, and then one of the commissioners sitting before me about a problem that we were having on a lot. You mentioned that you weren't on the board.
Okay.
If you were on the board, we would have made some difference.
Right.
You would try to. There you go. This county entered into agreements with subdivisions and empowered them to make bylaws, to make CCRs. And the board of directors lies blind and has no idea. They are of no help whatsoever when something goes wrong. So maybe the county should encourage the landowners associations to fulfill their obligations with regards to these complaints. I'm going to just follow up with my experience because I'm going to call you and up you by whatever. When you do a subdivision plat, how many people here live in a subdivision? All right, so they've got community out parcel. So our developer sold the community out parcel and somebody moved on to it. I have truth in lending papers that say nothing under 5 acres would be sold. The community out parcel was 2.3 acres when sold. And today when I drove by, there were at least 15 cars on it. I see the potential for the use of a nuisance order. However, if I had a strong landowners association, a board that had some kind of support from this county, who could write a letter and say, you are in violation. If you don't think you're in violation, please respond by X number date. If you are in violation, rectify it by X number date. But when we come to the county, there is no help, as was pointed out. The county made the agreement with the subdivision. Follow up? Now, after you've made the agreement with the subdivision, nobody on the board of directors is doing anything to support the people that live there. When somebody calls you and oh, now you have a problem. So you got to create ordinances. I'm suggesting that maybe if we would do some proactive and say, these are a violation of New Mexico statute. Please respond that these things would sort of fall off. That's all I have to say at this time. Did you say my name?
Do you ever respond to that?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm asking now.
No, we're not able to, Mr. Sheehan. Okay, anybody else for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Well, I want to address several things. I'm Lily Lane, the Captain County Assessor, and part of it, I'm going to address the assessor, and part of it I want to address as just a citizen of Captain County. But I think, first of all, number one, and please don't take my comments as being ugly, but it's just stating facts as I see them. But you guys started this, and then you ended it after you brought all of these people here. And I don't think they appreciate that. I think they follow it through. If it's an idea that you believe in, you need to follow it through, because you got all of them here for this. And do soon. Put your stuff on here. There's lots of things that we need to take care of. But this ordinance, while I think there are problems in the county, I think have been handled in a very different way without this fiasco. And as the assessor, yes, there are out parcels. Their subdivision plats are approved. They are not part of the subdivision. The county has no, I mean, they're just like me living on my land and everything else. That's in the subdivision approval process. So,
But can I get that in writing?
it's a law. There's subdivision regulations. I'll be glad to give you a copy.
Okay, and a copy of the plat map where it's in there.
Yeah,
You understand where you say this is in the plat, but it's not part of the
but
subdivision?
it's listed in out parcels, so it's in plat, but it's not part of the subdivision.
Perfect.
The second thing is from my point as an assessor, I have had people calling over this stuff. Like I said, I mean, you've got a crowd here. We're worried about cleaning up the county. There's trash under your table here. Our internet isn't working. We have some major issues we need to deal with internally in our own backyard before we start cleaning up everybody else's. And we do have the highest suicide rate, addiction rate. And so pull a committee together and do this and then put it out there for the people. Zoom it so they can know. I mean, that's all I'm asking. I hope you don't take this as me being ugly, but just my frustration with dealing with this stuff. And then basically you cut off at the knees. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Lily.
I got a comment. Brett Lane, Washington, New Mexico, on the nuisance ordinance. You're talking about out parcels and subdivisions, everybody's had a problem. Perfect example, we live right next to the subdivision. They're part of the ranch, they subdivided it, we're on the outskirts of it. And realistically, we're one of the maybe 2 or 3 people in that whole subdivision that still make live in this county. Everybody else retirees. And even like that nuisance ordinance, I can find every day when I'm in my neighborhood.
Rather than out count your flies.
Yeah, you know, basically, you know, it's like your problem there is civil, they handled it. That's the way I personally think it ought to be. I don't think the county should have a say in the blood deal, or my neighbor.
Right.
That's all I have to say on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not gonna read my comments, I'm gonna get I'm not gonna read my comments, but I cherry picked everything, but I would like to request the county that if you're gonna do a public ordinance like this, maybe follow some guidelines, like posting it 2 weeks before the agenda and posting the ordinance on the website, like Patty had mentioned, or even putting them at different places. There are people in town making copies and let them know about it. That's not our job as taxpayers and as their constituents. That's the commission office's job. This should have been posted. We should not have had to find out about this from an email asking, do you know anything about this ordinance? Or a phone call, have you seen this ordinance? No, we can look on the internet. The phones don't work in the commission office. They do not work. Every time I've tried to call, it just rings and rings and rings. You can't even call the commission office to get a copy of the ordinance, and that's a disadvantage for the constituents that are there. Then to even put it on the agenda, knowing that with this outcry you're gonna have, like Lily said, they're gonna chop us at the case and not do it. That's really disingenuous to the rest of us. We've had to travel a long way, so we've had to adjust our plans so that we could be down there. But 2 things, make sure that the public is made aware. If the phones are not working in the commission office, then post cell numbers on the website. I understand all the employees in the commission office have cell phones paid for by the county. Post those numbers so we can get a hold of somebody. There's absolutely no reason why your constituents cannot get a hold of the county manager or anybody in that commission office with an application. What happens is we have this network of we call Patty and I discuss it, then we call somebody else, we discuss it, and pretty soon this little molehill turns into a huge mountain. That would be the best thing, is just communicate with your constituents. And can I put my comments that I cherry picked on this ordinance, can I still give it to them even though I didn't read it?
For sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anita.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Olga Delgado. I live in Rancho Grande Estates, and like this gentleman just said that most of us are just tired of the people here. Yeah, we need to clean our places up. Some of us don't even have the money to clean our places up. So if you're gonna address this, what that lady said about cleaning our places up, or gonna put a lien on our places, I don't think that's right. And like she said, why don't you notify the people what's going on? Some of these people that come into our town, and they come from California or wherever, and they want to come and change our rules, I don't think that's right. We had some people in Rancho Grande years back, and they were trying to change the rules on the Water Association. Did we know about it? No, we didn't. So if this person, whoever made up these rules about putting a lien on our places, no, I don't think that's right. She needs to go back where she's from. Because this is our town, and we don't live in California or Detroit or wherever. I know there's a problem here, but some of us don't even have the money to clean our places up. So I don't think that is right. And if anybody disagrees with me, go ahead. Because most of us here, like me, I'm a widow. Our husbands die, and what? We got 5 jobs? No. So that needs to be addressed and let the people know what's really going on, instead of just hearing it from town. That's my opinion.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Russell
Lane.
Lanny, and I appreciate you guys killing the ordinance. Certainly do. But like my wife said, didn't kill it for the manager putting on the agenda. Never should have happened. If you guys think you better control your manager, I suggest you find out something else to do. Anyway, I do appreciate it being killed, but I do not appreciate the way it was handled. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Deborah Boyer,
Yes, ma'am.
and I think, the way this was handled was not good. That nobody could find the ordinance, people that did get a copy of the ordinance, it was provided by people in the courthouse who were scared to give it to us because they were afraid of the jobs. When you lack transparency on one thing, do you not think we think you are hiding other things. This isn't the only thing that you're probably hiding. You're hiding the transparency on an ordinance that affects the entire county. What else don't we know that's going on? I mean, your government, you need to be transparent. Things that you do here are all open. You know, you have stuff on the executive session that doesn't even need to be there. This Captain County needs to be more transparent about what's going on here.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Lester, I've known you for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
This noise ordinance is not right. We have new people moving in that have no right to be telling us how we can and cannot live. Like out there at Rancho Grande, we have people coming in from work all kinds in all hours of the night. And I understand where other people are coming from, but for us who have to live out there, this is not right at all. They want to come in, people from California want to come in, proceed to tell us how to live. That's not right either, Buster. You know that as well as I do. It's not right. They have no right to come in, tell us how to live. They want to help clean up our property. Most of us can't afford it like myself. Then help us do it. Help us do it. Fork over the money for it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen because most of us can't afford it like myself. Like Ms. Silva was saying, you have no right to do that. You can't go explain what is happening or anything else. It's not right. We can't afford it. You know, if you want to help us clean it up, fine, then help us. Stop complaining about it and help us. Because most of us can't afford it. We can't. What do you want us to do? And then you know if they want to take our property for what? Because you can't afford to clean it up? Like you want it? Like they should? Rancho Grande is separate from reserve. We have our own set of rules out there. We do. It's not reserved. You know? Just like here. You want to complain about it all the time, then help us do something about it. You know? That's where we have to live out there. You know, most of us can't afford it. Most of us have to have 2 or 3 jobs to be able to do that. You know, so who, you know, the newcomers, who are they to move in there and start telling us what to do? No, we're not going to do that. Because, yeah, we have neighbors coming in and out of work and all hours of the night and everything like that. It's not fair, it's not right.
Thank you. Right. Anyone else? Sure. Yes, ma'am.
It's taking a while to get up, but I'll get up.
That's all right.
Get up, Sharon.
I'm Sharon Army. Been a resident, this permanent. And I love every minute of it, and what it's made. Regardless whether you're a newcomer, old comer, or whatever, mind business. It's all my mind. This ordinance was not in alignment with Patton County's values, culture, or legal framework. It would impose an urban bureaucratic model into a rural community that has long prioritized freedom, self-reliance, minimal government intrusion, disregards our land use plan. Some of this is covered under your land use plan. Anybody in here read that land use plan? Very few even know what it says. There's some of us in here that help write the land use plan, right, Cliff? Some of us designed the logo one. I know what it says. Think about it. Disrespects our rule, tradition, and undermines the character of our county. There's people that have come from other places. They don't want to change it. You don't like their attitude, change theirs. I love Catherine County. My husband was a Catherine County resident all his life, and it saddens me to see where this county is going. It's going by the way of the landfills. It's trash. People talk about they can't clean their yards because they can't afford it. Muscle power doesn't cost a lot of money. Do you need somebody to help you haul it off? I bet you could find somebody if you really wanted to. I have. I can't go out and haul my own trash, but I have friends and neighbors that help. Most of it is not an accumulation of a year's work. It's a lifetime work. I thank you for not considering that ordinance, killing it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
It has to do with the transportation. I'm under that.
Need your name for
David
the,
Kennedy.
what is it?
David Kennedy, I live in Metro Run State.
Okay, thank you.
I was told, I don't know if it's true or not, I was told that, the trash cards that we get, or we purchase, whatever, if we don't get that trash card, we're still billed for that. And, and that if we don't have it, we gotta pay more when we go to the dump. So, I mean, whether we have the card or not, we still get charged for it. So therefore, we should be able to use it as or use trash. Take it. Because not all of us have vehicles, not all of us have some of us have time to do it, but not the money. I mean, if they're gonna charge me, I don't know what it is, $50, $75 or whatever the trash card costs, on top of how much it costs to go to the trash over here, you know, I mean, there's like the metal, you know, charging $2 cents a pound, whatever it is, yeah, that's fine, but a lot of us can't get the metal there. You know, have one day a month or something, a free dump day, just bring utility paper, you can get in and throw your trash. You know? I mean, something like that. I mean, Eager and Springville have that, and I tell you what, they keep everything pretty clean over there. But here, I mean, a lot of us can't, you know, like myself, I work 2, 3, 4 jobs, 5 jobs all the time. So I make it. But then again, transportation, you know, and it's like, okay, I have several vehicles in my yard. I was told that if they're not up and running, licensed and insured, that Alina would put on our place for it. Well, you know, that's wrong too, because some of them vehicles are runners, they you can't afford the insurance on it. For the registration, you gotta park it. The laws make us park it. Or if you're driving on the road, even if you go to the job, go to the hospital, the train, whatever they pull it over, they'll confiscate all that. They'll have it towed. You know, my ride got towed all the way to Kamado, and $640 for the tow. I mean, come on, that's a little ridiculous whenever we have a tow stuff like this. And it's just there's so many laws and rules and stuff that are hard to follow because of the work that's available here and whatnot. And then we try to get to our work or to our job, to our family or whatever, and we get cut off. You know, and it's like we're stuck. That's why there's so many like vehicles in the yard and stuff because they can't drive them. They're just moving.
Yes, sir.
You know?
All right. Yep, thank you. All right, anyone else?
I comment again, not on the ordinance, something else.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make it brief. In regards to the subdivision bylaw CCNRs, I was on our board for 10 years. praise the Lord, I'm no longer president. You know what a nightmare it is. You're gonna find out.
Like a meeting.
Okay, yes. So, but unfortunately, when our bylaws and CCNR were written back in, I think it was 1997, we had the rules and the regulations and all that, and that was all great, but there was no teeth for enforcement. The only thing we could do is lien a property if they did not pay their annual dues. That was the limit of our power in there. Yes, I wrote letters for people who were not abiding by the rules, certified letters, they just get ignored. Had no teeth to make anything happen. So, it's a long time ago, there should have been teeth put into the bylaws and the CCNRs so that the board could take some minor action. Yes, confronting a person, sometimes that works. Most of the time, like you said, get out of my face. So, I don't know where we go from there. If the county could come up with the ordinances or power for the boards that are the same for everybody, give them some teeth that can be applied, and not ridiculous stuff, just something that would give us some enforcement. Now, I'm not going to be the enforcer anymore. I'm done with it. So, anyways, I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
I also wanted to address something, when I had my shoulder surgery, I came into the hospital there was somebody in my house. It wasn't me or anybody I knew, but it wasn't, we're invited, broke into my house. I called the law. Law went out there, they didn't take fingerprint, they didn't take pictures, they didn't even take my state. All they did was tell me that you, get camera. I said, okay, that's fine. Well, he proceeded to go ahead and come back to reserve, and next thing I know, coming back to my house, pissed off at me, saying that I called and warned the people who were looking at it or whatever. And, got under my, and, told me, to not call them no more. Or maybe, don't call the sheriff's office no more. Well, who am I supposed to call if I can't call them? And that's pretty cheeky, kid. To tell a taxpayer, don't call it law enforcement no more. And pissed off at somebody because somebody else did something. Apparently he drove right by him and didn't even question him. He didn't do the job. Hey, me to do the job for him. Well, I'm tired of doing that job for him. I called for somebody at my uncle's house doing wood. I had 5.5 quarters of wood stolen from my dad during the day.
Right. All right. We appreciate your comment. Is there anyone else for public comment?
I would like to just put a formal request in. I didn't at the end of my talk, so I just hand that to you at the end. Formal request for clarification of the intent of the subdivision outwork.
We'll take that right here.
Yes.
Should I bring it now?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Is there anyone else for public comment? Okay. We will now close that portion of our meeting. And there is no need now for 7, right? Amen. So now we will go to 8. The department agency reports. Wait, this start. Okay. Yes, sir.
Is there going to be a public hearing aspect with that one?
So the public hearing aspect, because the ordinance was struck down, and so I can make a comment at this part, and I'll kind of include it in my commissioner's activities, okay? So I fielded numerous calls, and encourage everyone, if there is a problem or a question, to call your commissioners. And so when you call me, I'm only able to answer for what my feelings are. I can't answer for Mr. Forward or Mrs. McQueen. But I can tell you how I feel about that, and I think that I expressed that to each and every one of you that I talked with. But please call your commissioners. Call your commissioners. Ask them what they think. Ask them what's going on with that ordinance. So the public hearing is no longer necessary, Mr. Carroll. And I appreciate the concerns that were brought up. And so, yes, hopefully these things will be rendered better in the future, and life is a learning process, right? And one of the best ways to get better is you learn from your mistakes, and hopefully you grow from them. And each of us go through that in life. And so, yes, definite things should have happened concerning this ordinance that would have made it better for the public and for the commission office and stuff concerning it. But hopefully we as a commission will learn from that, and hopefully you'll grant us that, I guess, mercy to be able to learn from that and how we handled this thing. Because no, it wasn't handled properly, but I think that for the most part that it happened how citizens of Catron County wanted it to happen. But like with most things, and with most things in government or life, discussion is the best thing that can happen. Because there are multiple situations and problems that people have. And unfortunately, a lot of times here in the United States, we've been conditioned that government is the answer. And we all know that that isn't the case. Because usually when government has been put in a place of being the answer and the solution, it hasn't turned out very good for the citizens. So anyway, with that, Mr. Carroll.
So, can we revert for a moment back to public comment?
Yeah, so.
Because my understanding was, I was going to say what I was going to say during the public hearing.
Okay, well, let's just open that time right now for you to do your presentation, and then we'll move on to the reports, okay?
So, I've been giving a lot of thought to this, the ordinance, how it was presented, where it came from, and how it surreptitiously got passed from one person to the next. I don't have a clue. Like everyone said, it should have been posted. People should have had notice. But as I was thinking about what to say on this topic, I thought, I just did a little bit of research. So if you go back eons, we start with the 10 Commandments, basically around 300 words. Those come from God. Then years and years later, we have a little country and a Declaration of Independence, which is about 1,500 words. And we go from there to writing the Constitution, it's about 7,500 words. And here we are today in this country that was founded on godly principles by deists, God-fearing men, men of character, men of courage. And today, our laws across this nation, if you add them all up, I heard an attorney say that somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million words. How the hell are you supposed to keep up with it? And yet we want somebody wants another ordinance to help control their neighbor or to help get along with their neighbor. I mean, I understand if you gotta hire an attorney, you gotta hire an attorney. But I think we ought to get back to some of the basics and the simple principles of the founding of this country. And no better place to do it than a place like this, where you're not encumbered by, hundreds of thousands of people who are 4/3 Indian. You know, you got people here that have generations and generations of ranching and logging and all the things, you know, before you had boys and girls sports. You know, when men were men and women were women and cows were too, then that was a different deal. And we're starting to, with the ideas of these ordinances, I'd like to know what person came up with that ordinance. Somebody, there's a lot of work that went into that, concocting that ordinance. So that's man hours, that's taxpayer dollars, that's however you want to tabulate it. But then it gets not presented, but discovered through some means or some person. And thankfully it was disseminated throughout the county with some sensible people. And I know you had discussions, but I mean, somewhere there's got to be some delineation and definition of who works for whom. And how the hell does a document like this just appear with 3 signature blocks for you folks and nobody knows anything about the origin? It's pretty cool. So, anyway, I'll conclude with that. You know, I could go on.
Yes, sir. No, I appreciate you, Mr. Carroll.
Will we get an answer as to the origin of that document?
Probably not.
You know, and
No transparency.
well, Sharon,
There isn't.
so the origin of the document.
I drafted the document.
Yeah, and so it was drafted because there were some concerns brought up by citizens. Okay, and it was drafted up for an element of discussion. All right, and here's the thing. So anybody can bring up something for an element of discussion within the county and stuff. And that isn't not being transparent, that is being transparent. The fact that you can bring something forth, but I can tell you for my personal opinion, I side with what I feel like was the majority of the feeling of the county and Mr. Carroll. Like, government is not the answer. And we shouldn't look for government to be the answer, and that's what's went wrong with our country. But we also know that, I think it was Thomas Jefferson that said, a moral and God-fearing people is required to be a free country. And so we can see where our laws and ordinances have gone, because as the morals and as we went away from those things, yes, the ordinances and the laws have went up. And no, that's all our government does. And everybody in our nation thinks that the government isn't working unless they're passing laws and ordinances and more draft. And so I think that we as a commission feel like most of the citizens in Catron County.
So just a quick comment on this subject. First of all, I want to thank everybody that called me on this ordinance. I wish I would have received 100 times more calls so I could have explained to folks what had happened. Do know that the ordinance was brought up because of citizens like you saying, look, we want to talk about this. The ordinance was brought up, and in our last month's commission meeting, it was clear the commissioners were saying, I'm not comfortable with this. It was crystal clear. I mean, for me, I believe if you got a problem with your neighbor, you deal with it across the fence. And if you can't deal with it across the fence, then you do have to go to court. That's what we have civil courts for. The government isn't here to take care of issues that neighbors have with each other. That's my personal opinion. But as a commission, since it was the citizens that asked us to bring this up, we said, let's do it. Let's have a hearing. Let's find out what, in general, the citizens are going to tell us.
Yeah. So,
Mr.
Chapman.
My name's Jeff Chapman, Blue Hills, Ranch Subdivision, been in Pytown going on 13 years. And the paperwork that you guys, that we found online, thank you, Patty. You have in there a grant for an EV charging station in Pytown. If you're gonna put a charging station in Pytown, how about you put a gas station in Pytown? I talked to Madeline before I came over here. You know how many electric vehicles she has registered? A handful, she said. You know how many diesel and gas vehicles we have in this town, this county? You know what I mean? Why would that even be an issue or even try to go get that money? Now, unless you're gonna go ahead and freaking put a gas station in too, you should research that instead of a charging station. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay. One more and then we've got to move on. Yes.
Sort of a sidebar, Mike Shade. Again, since I've been on the board, and especially president of the Homeowners Association, we are dictated by numerous state laws, one of which is the Homeowners Association Act. Well, one that my attorney flirted with and said it doesn't apply is the New Mexico Open Meeting Act. And I don't know if I'm not suggesting that commissioners are doing anything wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But that kind of dictates the procedures of how things are made available to the public, when they have to be made available to the public. We just had a board meeting where we presented policy resolutions. And we had to make those available at a minimum of, I believe it was 3 days to the members of our, they got them weeks ahead. So that may be something either for the county's council to look at or the commissioners, just because when I got into that position, there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know that I had to do. And our members were going to make sure that we did it. So it sounds like folks were not happy with the information being made available or not. I got a copy of this because I called somebody else in county government. So it was not on the website. I looked for it. So, and also each of the board members has a copy of Robert's Rules of Order. We follow those just so we have a laid out linear thing. And again, I'm not suggesting the commission has done anything bad, wrong, illegal, or anything. But we've had to change some things, the way that we did things out there, because people were holding us accountable for not happy with the way things were being done. So just pointing that out. It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. No. Yes, sir, Mr. Snyder.
Chris Snyder, there's a lot of stuff going on here that hasn't been answered. County Commission followed the letter of the law. They published this ordinance in the Silver City Daily Press. By law, they follow the state law. If we don't get it, that's not really their problem. But I was on your website and I can see for immediate press release all the problems we're having with the wolves. I can read all about it. I can read on there that the county clinic is closed. I can't find this ordinance on your website. So you followed the letter of the law. Well, I think what some people are saying is, I should have asked their hands earlier, does anybody read it?
No.
You know, I mean, you can follow the letter of the law, but that doesn't help the public. So, you know, and there's some accusations, I guess, that you're being transparent. Well, you followed the letter of the law, but that's not what people want to see.
Make a good point.
You can go out a little bit farther.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, we appreciate that. Okay.
So I'll, just so I can comment on it,
I felt like, and I agree, like, it wasn't handled the way it should have, and I stand corrected and will do better. But with all the complaints we were getting, we decided we needed to have a public hearing, hear from both sides, and so I felt like it was transparent to let everybody come and, you know, voice their opinion, which I've had multiple calls, multiple emails, and I'm not one for more government. I don't want more government. But there is, you know, what I wish could happen is people that, and you don't have to go spend a bunch of money. I get some people don't have a lot of money, but trash that's in people's yards that's blowing the neighbors and stuff, we could all do better. I mean, it doesn't cost money to pick up trash. And I know that we don't have the law enforcement either to go like correct all these things and work on all that order was huge. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm not for more government either. I just think as a county we could do better. That's the reason we live here and love the county, is because it's a great place to live. But anyway, my apologies for not handling it as we should, and we will do better.
Okay.
So is that commissioner report to
No.
you?
Or also, if you want, text, whatever you want to do.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So when we move into the commissioner report, this is the opportunity that the commissioners have to speak with each other, right? That's why we give our reports orally. It's important that we can ask each other questions. Otherwise, outside of a public meeting, we can't communicate. So this month, commissioners, it was definitely exciting. I'll start out with our governor going to Silver City to attend a town hall meeting, and she was going to take questions after the meeting. Now, we passed a emergency declaration in April, and we have heard nothing from the governor. And I thought, I don't want to go there and embarrass the governor and ask her why she isn't responding to an emergency declaration. But I did ask her in public if she had heard of our most recent resolution where we have bipartisan support for our emergency declaration. And she hadn't heard of it yet. And I'm going to give her credit. She listened to my question, and some of it was comments. She did invite one of the commissioners to come to her office in Santa Fe and to discuss the issues. And I'll tell you what, I was very happy to receive that invitation from her. And it did take some work to get her to commit a date for that meeting, but we do have a date set for one of the commissioners to attend August 22nd with our governor. And we will be inviting some other elected officials to attend that meeting. This is very important. The governor needs to know our emergency declaration isn't necessarily asking for National Guard to come to Catherine County, right? There's other things she can do. So we'll be talking more about that as it gets closer. I was involved in 2 meetings with the Forest Service regarding improvements that we're doing on Roe Grade Road. The project has turned into a lot more effort than anticipated in the beginning because we have to go outside of the prescriptive easement. In many areas, we're going to a 90-foot easement. The Forest Service required a lot more data from Stantec. And I've got to tell you, we have issues with Stantec in the costs. But in this case, what the Forest Service was asking from Stantec was very aggressive, and Stantec stepped up to the plate and supplied them with all the information. So we're hoping to get some extended easements on Roe Grade Road, which is important for the catwalking Glenwood. had numerous meetings and discussions with the Glenwood Park Board. I'm very proud of that group. They have almost $750,000 to spend on improving the park, improving the arena. A lot of new infrastructure is going in. It takes a ton of effort, and they were able to pull in a volunteer, Tammy Christensen. She's here right now, that has helped the park board and moving ahead and correctly spending that money with all the rules and regulations that are involved is a huge project. And I've got to thank the park board for what they're doing. Met with Arizona New Mexico Coalition of Counties, gave them a synopsis on our emergency declaration, and I asked them to pass a resolution in support of our emergency declaration. They represent 15 counties, 4 being in Arizona, the balance in New Mexico, and over 800,000 people, and they passed a resolution unanimously for support of our declaration. I met with businesses in Glenwood and discussed the hatchery, the grounds around the hatchery. We have these historic ponds, the All-Red Pond, the hatchery pond that are essentially being ignored. A lot of our recreation folks are complaining that what they remember the hatchery being as a child is no longer this legacy hatchery that generations remember. So we did get a meeting together, a Zoom meeting with New Mexico Game and Fish, Luis Terrazas, Crystal Diamond, representative from the county, me, and we discussed funding to take care of the hatchery grounds, which is going to greatly improve our recreation and economy in Glenwood. I received a number of calls regarding our land use plan. And I have promised the people that I have spoke with that I would clear up my position on the land use plan. We all know, anybody that's read the plan, this is a huge project to tackle the land use plan. I know the commissioners have read it themselves. I'm going to state publicly here that as far as I'm concerned, right now the county is not going to hire an outside contractor to help develop the land use plan like some other counties have done. However, we are going to make sure we involve all 3 of the conservation districts within the county. They're working on their land use plan, and this needs to be a global agreement. So we will be working closely with the conservation districts, also working closely with the public. This will give you an idea of the site. Each one of the commissioners will have to call a minimum of 4 public meetings to go over different categories of this land use plan. So the public is going to be heavily involved. The conservation districts are going to be heavily involved. It's a matter of making this thing a priority because the project is very time consuming. I'm looking forward to starting it, but it needs to be coordinated properly, and it just hasn't been coordinated yet. We've had discussions. I've had personal discussions with the San Francisco Conservation District. I see what they're doing. I like what they're doing, and we'll see if some of that can be intertwined into the county plan also. No questions. Thank you.
Well, I'll just reiterate on the land use plan and stuff, and we're not seeking to change things and stuff. There's a few things that need to be updated in the land use plan, and we want to go off of all the work that was put into that land use plan and just update some things and stuff. And I know I also sit on the board for the Camado Soil and Water District, and we actually got a grant, and within that grant, hired a person to help us with our own land use plan for model soil and water that would go in conjunction with this, and then we could help input on the plan for Catherine County. That person, basically took our money and ran.
Oh.
Now we can't track her down.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't necessarily a good deal, and we're trying to find out exactly what we can do as a soil and water board to hold her accountable for that.
Did she give you any documentation
None.
before she left?
None.
I told you to check your obituary, she might die.
Well, we actually did, and from where we tracked her down, she ran off to Arizona, but yeah, unfortunately, was not a moral person and did not hold up her end as a contract.
Well, it was 122 in Arizona last week. Maybe she is dead.
And maybe so. But anyway, no, these are, unfortunately, when there are lots of mechanisms and stuff, government isn't usually efficient when it comes to time and doing things immediately like the private sector can be. And then there are just multiple things to consider. But along with the public nuisance order, I think we all commented how many calls we got, stuff. We hope that everyone will continue to reach out to the commissioners and visit with them and talk with us. And we're definitely, and from what I've seen from both of my fellow commissioners, we're trying to do the best job that we can for Catcher County. Doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes. We continually make mistakes. We're trying to move forward and push things forward in a responsible manner. I know that there's lots of frustration out there, still getting multiple calls on roads, and we have a lot of issues right now. You know, I think everybody's undergoing the impacts of the drought right now. Feel that. And it does not help our road department out in any way to not have any moisture in the ground to work with. And so we can have roads that are bladed, and within a few days' time, the washboards will be there again, and you can't keep cutting down the roads to nothing. So there are just multiple issues that we're dealing with countywide and stuff. But there's lots of good things that are happening too. And we hope that those of you that are here that will spread the word. We're actually having another New Mexico Game and Fish meeting here on Friday. And we need to have a good turnout for that. The fact that the Game Commission is meeting here, and because of what they have control of and how it affects our county and our county's income, because hunting is a large portion of our county's revenue, because it affects everything else. It affects all the other service industries that come in. I know I was talking with the lady that owns the restaurant up there the other day, and she was just hoping that she can hang on, you know. And sometimes some businesses here they're based off of when hunting starts and when it ends, those services. So a lot of elements within our county have effect on other industries and stuff, and sometimes we don't see that, you know. And so sometimes when it seems like we're focusing on the wolf or whatever, it's because the wolf is impacting hunting, it's impacting ranching, and so it has a trickle effect. So anything that we're trying to work on, and I feel like as a commission, we've developed a pretty good relationship with most of the game commissioners, and that's a really good aspect for Catherine County. And we will be presenting at the meeting. The commission will be doing a presentation for the game commission. So hopefully, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I guess We can use, for example, today, the public nuisance ordinance. And so at the game commission, we're actually trying to dispel a bunch of misconceptions and stuff. Because there are misconceptions on the book deal that ranchers are being compensated for all of their losses, which is not even close to the truth. And so, in the end, hopefully we learned our lesson from this, and hopefully we get information out better, and we can function better, and I can function better as a commissioner. Thank you.
What time's that meeting on Friday?
9 a.m.
Yep, at the fairgrounds. Yes.
No.
Oh, no, no,
high
it's
school.
oh,
I'll
so
talk
we don't
about it.
have to do, okay, you,
I got it.
okay.
All right, so the game commission is on Friday at 9 o'clock at the high school. I urge everyone to go that can and have their neighbors and friends. The commission is very interested in the impacts that the wolf is having to Catherine County, whether it's in the health and safety to the residents, to the cattle industry, to the hunting. And so they want to hear, and there'll be public comment. I know you have to sign in. It's a little bit different than here. You're gonna have to sign in before the meeting starts that you want to talk in public comment. But I urge anybody, please, because the game commission wants to hear. A lot of them are misinformed. They think whether everybody's just being reimbursed 100%. They want to hear it from the people that are living the nightmare. So anyway, this Friday at 9 at the high school. And then as far as the counties in New Mexico and now Arizona that are supporting the declaration, I think we're up to 13. Well, right around there, seems like every few weeks another county passes the support. And we're
I only hesitated because Sierra County is looking at another resolution
of doing
today.
their own.
If that comes in 14.
And then that rolls into the SBA. Has Laura Seeberger reached out to you?
Yes.
And since we have that declaration, like, we should qualify and get money from having that. So that, I think, comes up September 12th, on getting those other monies there. And then, just reaching out, like, we're trying to add more counties all the time. Rio Arriba, San Juan counties are really interested in it. They're facing the Colorado wolf coming down to them. So it's good. It's taken a lot of work and a lot of time getting all these counties to band together, but piece by piece, we're getting it, and there's getting a lot of support. If I talk about the CLA for a minute, where everybody has been paid for completely caught up on every depredation that has came in, and that hasn't happened in years. Usually, from the Coexistence Council to the CLA, it was a year to 2 years behind on a lot of things, and everything's been caught up and paid for, and that the CLA seems to be working pretty good on getting ranchers paid back for some of the losses they found. And then the land use plan, I'm concerned about all of it. It just hasn't. There's been so many things, but the wolf has chewed up a lot of time. But as soon as Friday comes along, and I know we've got a huge presentation for Friday to do, and it seems like you get through one thing and then you can work on another. But the land use plan is high on our priority, and we'll definitely have like hearings and stuff. We're not just going to go get the plan, because I know there was a lot of time put into it, and so that is going to be on the schedule to get working on. And then as far as roads go, I want to give Mark kudos. I think you guys have done great with the conditions. And
I haven't had many calls on washouts. What?
But I hope that we do.
Watch out.
If we could start getting washout calls, I'd be like, let's take them. So, I know that for me driving like on Forest Road 19, you guys did a lot of work on that road. But with the conditions, I think you guys have done good. And anybody that has called and complained about their road, like, you guys have gotten right on it and done the best you can with the conditions. So anyway, that is, if anybody has any questions or anything, about the game commission meeting that's on Friday, reach out. You can call me anytime. I appreciate everyone coming and calling and emails about the nuisance ordinance. There again, it wasn't something that we were just wanting to come up with and throw at everybody. We were trying to be transparent on both sides, because there was those few people wanting us to do something. But the greater, by far, amount of people that didn't want anything done, other people have spoke, so. Anyway, that is.
You might want to recommend that they read the subdivision regulations. County has on file.
Okay, so, agreed, thanks Anita, and I would say, like, cause a lot of our complaints, well, all of the complaints were coming out of subdivisions. And so the county, the subdivisions have their own rules, and they should take care of their rules. We can't implement all kinds of rules for everybody else that live, through the rest of the county. I do, I was wishing we could do something that had a little bit of teeth, so that when people's trash or whatever is blowing into other properties, to give the sheriff like some kind of where he could go in and say, look, you have to clean this up. Not saying that you gotta go get heavy equipment and spend thousands of dollars, but because, and there's rules and stuff now, we just gotta work together as a county and keep Cup in a good place.
All right. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll the Forest Service, they are having their quarterly meetings today, so we don't have anybody from the Forest Service representing today for their report. They're having their quarterly, and then as everybody probably knows or has seen smoke, there's multiple fires and incidents going on. Manager report, this is Mom.
So I sent you guys for your request
Yep.
Via email.
Yep.
The only update, and Audrey touched on that, is CLLA is completely paid to every claim that has been submitted, right? And that's never been the case. So that's a huge milestone. So we have paid every claim that has been submitted to CLLA.
Okay.
So I think we all read the manager's report.
Yes. So just so the public knows, because it's on here on the agenda, on the manager report and the department's report, in order so that the meetings aren't long, we have those departments send in their reports and stuff. And so in the area of transparency, we could post those reports so that everybody could read them, since we aren't doing them vocally within the meeting. Right?
That would be great.
Yes. All right, so that would be something we
Well,
could
and
do.
I also have it, so I can provide it right now, but for brevity, I figured.
Right.
Keep it.
Yeah, so we could just do a monthly report, some way on the website where people could look at it, and if they were wanting to see the assessor's report or whatever, that monthly report, we could just pull it up. Okay, so now before we get into action items, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Yes, ma'am.
On the assessors department, I just wanted to pass this out to you
Oh,
because
okay.
we are having a veterans outreach.
Yes, ma'am.
And the health council we're having it at the Senior Citizen Center in Reserve. And it's for mainly the property exemptions, but the veteran services will help veterans with any of their benefit questions at all. And the Catherine County Health Council is going to sponsor lunch for the veterans.
Okay, so this needs to be put up on the website here. Okay.
Is it gonna,
Go ahead.
is it gonna be communicated in your way, or just on the county website?
I have mailed out 260 letters to every veteran I have in my property tax list. We have mailed out to every post office that we post this and asked them to post it. So, and then here, and we put it on the website. I tried to make it
And I have a few extra flyers here if anybody wants to take one.
And we'll post it.
I think I'll share it too.
Okay, yeah, the more the better, because we definitely want all of our veterans to have everything. I apologize to you. And just as a side note, I'm also sponsoring, an outreach with the, water out of Jimmy, the state engineer's office, but it'll be later in the year and that'll be open. Well, this is open for anybody too, but that'll be open for the whole town at some point.
Okay.
And if you don't have no questions for me,
I don't think that is, but it's nice to meet you.
All right. So anyway, we'll take a 5-minute recess. We'll resume at 10:35 and we welcome you to stay for the action item and the discussion involved there.
make sure we can stay up. 10:30.
We're gonna have to play. Do those. Sorry. We went way over the 5 minutes, and so we're gonna have to get cracking here on our action items. A has already been done. B, approval of Stantec Engineering Amendment number 1 of road grade roadway and drainage design task order number 2. NMFA Colonias 6108 CIF.
So I'll take that one. George gave me a call. He had to see the funeral today.
Right.
I don't know if you had a chance to review the costs that he sent in. I'll just pull it up quickly here. So we have a Colonias fund for $264,199 for engineering on road grade road, and it looks like they're going to spend all of that. Since I was involved in the meeting, in both meetings, I could see the extra effort that the Forest Service was having them put in. So they're not going over the grant, but they are definitely spending all of it. And I would ask that we approve this.
Okay. And so they've wised up.
This
instead of going low cost and then coming back and
well, I don't know if they've wised up. They tried to go lower cost, and they were doing it in phases, 30%, 90%, and then 100%. And this is to get us there 100%.
Right.
And like I say, I have to admit that the Forest Service was pushing them hard with additional work that they hadn't done. And they are getting it complete in time for us to pick up the transportation grant to do the physical work. So everything's on time and on budget.
All right. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
Do you motion? I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item C, delegation of authority to purchase fire PPE for the Apache Creek Fire Department.
So, this exceeds, the $20,000 mark. This is covering fire funds, which are restricted funds. The, money is available in our particular capital outlay or our, equipment line item.
Okay, and so everything's good there, the money's available, and this is for
Protective equipment for, fire department members. So,
right. Okay.
I know I saw it in the packet. It looked reasonable to me. Or is it in line with traditional pricing?
Oh, yes. I mean, everything's gotten way more expensive, but it's typical what we're seeing.
Okay. All right.
If there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
It's been motioned seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item D, approval of KSA proposal and contract for professional engineering service. Construction administration for the Reserve Airport 216, airport rehabilitation, runway widening, and wildlife exclusion fence.
So good morning.
Yes.
This is good. KSA is our contractor that we've been using to organize the work that we're doing out at the airport. So this is for their engineering services for the construction. There are the following items here that's also, but this is, you will see this basically, their contract.
Okay, and within this would be being covered by the grant. So, why is the second part, why is it contracted in two different sections?
Because one is the parking lot project, the airport building, the parking lot, and the other one is the rehabilitation to the runway and the wildlife fence. They're two separate projects.
Okay.
So one being 452,000, which grant is covering that?
These are DOT.
DOT? Okay.
And
So they're administrated by DOT, but they're FAA grants.
Okay, but full, the county.
The county, there's no percent match rate.
Okay. All right.
We do have somebody here that might be familiar with it. Do you have any comment, Ron?
Runway project and fence is FAA money, and there may be some state money on that grant as well. The building itself is, I believe, 100% state money, DOT.
Did you write letters in support of this?
Oh, yes.
I thought perhaps you did. Yeah.
Yes, in fact, the new aviation director, I've already brought her up to speed on how important we think the Reserve Airport is as an asset to this county and as a recreational hub, frankly, for the whole Gila area.
Thank you for your help.
Okay. Seems if there's no further discussion, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
This one ought to be quick and easy. Item E, approval of KSA proposal and contract for professional engineering services. Is there any further discussion?
I motion to approve that.
Second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item F, direction to staff regarding updating the 2007 comprehensive plan. What's that?
No.
Wow. Okay.
What? So you mean, so 2007?
Yes. Sorry. I
Yeah,
should
no, that's
clarify that.
that's why it needs updated.
Yeah,
18-year-old plan we're
Yeah.
gonna approve now?
Well,
We just need to update it.
we generally shoot for 20.
Okay, I would think, wow.
It's comprehensive, so it covers multiple years.
What?
I should imagine how big that document is, but 1 year, we keep looking at it.
Okay.
So good morning, Commissioner. So before you today is basically the discussion for staff to work with either a contractor, or, you know, staff, but we are kind of short-staffed to take on this kind of project. There does need to have some meetings and things like that, but the comprehensive plan needs to be updated. As mentioned, it's from 2007. And a lot of our grant funding comes from, you know, a correct comprehensive plan. So updating this would benefit in our pursuit of grants. And for those of you, this is, so it's not nearly as thick as our land use plans does. So
Adrian, are there procedures that we need to follow to update this?
There's procedures for, and quite a bit of public meetings and public input. And I know you had a bad experience with the contractor. I've worked through a bunch of these, and generally there are some really good firms that do these, Southwest and Albuquerque. Like I say, there are grants that allow for them, and it is a fair, depending on a fairly in-depth process to get it right. So I do think that a grant and hiring someone like Southwest or one of those companies that does a bunch of these is a pretty good way to go. But that's up to the board.
Deb, how hurt are we going to be if it takes a year to get this updated?
Well, it's still within that 20 years. No, I have not been requested by any of the grants that we've gone out for an update, but we're just putting it on your radar to consider it. So I think honestly, waiting another 18 months, 12 months is.
Do we have a path on which grants can be scrubbed that we can apply for?
Not yet. I haven't been told by a grant application that I'm so sorry, your comprehensive plan is.
I asked the question wrong. If we apply for a grant to get this updated, do we know what type of grant that is, or have we had anybody scrubbing grants to figure it out?
I will ask Priscilla would be a great place to start there, so I'll connect with her.
Okay.
Okay, so since we're in the discussion part of this, what would our availability be? Can we post this on the website? And just request public comment? Post it on the website, ask for public comment and stuff, and then go over the comprehensive plan. If updating it is by the means of just changing some terminology and stuff, and there's actually we go into it, and the public comment we receive and everything else, we're like, you know what, this comprehensive plan kind of follows everything where we're at right now. And we can decide that in-house with the public's input and the commission input, instead of going out and paying a firm $20,000 to write us a new comprehensive plan that basically follows the comprehensive plan. Does that make sense? Absolutely.
Yeah, my understanding, there's scoping meetings and everything that have to happen.
Before you adopt it, but I go like what Buster's saying, if the thought process initial review is say like, what we want public comment on initial review is, what does the general public and does the local elected officials, do you feel like that's needed, that there's an update meeting? And if the consensus is yes, then probably need to lift them down that complicated process. If the consensus is no, then maybe don't have to go.
Right, but is there a simpler process if everybody's in agreement that this comprehensive plan is still, it's still viable?
Yes,
Is there any way that you can just say, boom,
if the
2025 update?
Yes, you just say we are readopting the 2025 conference plan.
Okay.
As our official plan.
Exactly. Yeah, I just want to avoid if it isn't necessarily, there's no sense in spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
We
Yes.
can put a working group committee together to go over it,
Right?
of stakeholders, small properties, properties, business owners in the county, and all aspects of the county, and have them look at it, work at it, and then put it out for public comment. That they would have a better idea of what might change if you have a diverse group looking at it, and that's what the,
Should we begin by talking to Priscilla?
I will contact.
Get her opinion, that maybe we can make some decisions once we have Priscilla's input. But in the meantime, no harm in posting it.
Yeah.
Right.
And asking for comment.
So post, we'll just ask for comment and then we can, hopefully when those comments come in, hopefully it isn't P-taxing, but we can just kind of file those within that file where we can go over those comments, you know, and then we can, and then just as a process, then we can outline, like, okay, if this is gonna go forward, these are the steps we have to take. And then we can go to the committee process and stuff. So, is there any further discussion? Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes, if we table it then.
No. So direction to staff would be to, the motion would be to direct staff to publish the comprehensive plan, ask for community input back to the commission office so that we can read that input. And then
speak with the COG.
Yep, speak with the COG, see what's available to help assist with drawing up that comprehensive plan if we have to. And then so basically it would be brought up.
Put it back on the agenda.
Yeah, put it back on the agenda, what our next steps would be.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Did you get that,
Yeah,
Sherry?
I did. I was right fast.
Okay. So, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item G, direction to staff regarding putting together a working group to address the issue of septic dumping in Catherine County. And Jay left already, but this is, I don't know if everybody in here who's left knows, but there's some issues going on, and right now it's particularly with the Pomado septic system. They just upped the fees for, yeah. Well, and it was only half of less than half of what they were trying. And there may be some viable concerns and some concerns that are not addressed properly, but, I guess what our discussion would be, and it's open for discussion, is to see on a county level and within grants, if there's anything that we can do. Because right now, Pomado isn't incorporated, right?
Yeah, it's
not. And
correct. Pomado has some issues that system was not designed for, for the septic dumping. It was not originally created to take that in. So we do have multiple issues. So my goal with this item was to create a group to see if there's other locations, if we can help Pomado maybe upsize their system for grants and whatnot, or B, if there are other locations that we could do, someplace that is being able to take in that, because Reserve does not take septic dumping. So we need a location. So if Pomado is not able to upsize their facility, we need an alternate to be able to continue to provide this service, because this has multiple ramifications countywide.
yeah, because Pomado was basically going to, whatever it was.
They were gonna shut it down.
Quadruple, but yes,
It was gonna be like
but it was gonna be
75
shut down in November, like no more. And then those services are not gonna be, basically you'd be hiring somebody from Grants or Albuquerque to come out and pump your septic system.
Also, but even it deals with porta potties and all that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
What did the Water Trust Board have to say about it?
They basically submit an application, there wasn't a lot of immediate feedback. They needed to learn more about it.
Is the water question handled by the EPA? This is gonna get, EPA, right? affecting groundwater and all of that stuff.
They're not involved yet, only for the fact that we continue to use an existing system, right, but pension variance, right? Pomado has expanded the time that they're willing to accept the septic service dumps. So they've expanded it for a year, and it wasn't.
So
What's the impact if they keep taking it? They really don't have room to take it, start affecting the groundwater.
But they have,
Deep out and with.
they have, there's only 170 actual residents of Pomado that are hooked to the sewage system. So there's,
And it's not the capacity, it's the fact that the system is 25 years old. And they have to replace the liners and obviously replace the liner with that, also, and upgrade the system itself, they had estimated budget $500 to upgrade the system so that it will, handle and what it's doing now and be able to handle the additional direction, not strong too much. So, because modern design works,
information.
they can't get a lot of money.
yeah,
How many?
That's a trust board.
I'm gonna ask.
So I know the application is difficult to fill out that, but I would sure recommend we start filling out that.
Well,
Yes.
the issue that, because, and that's why I need Priscilla's guidance, because I can't speak on behalf of Pomado, right? And so we don't own our own processing system, so
Oh, Pomado needs to fill out the
Pomado needs to.
It has
Correct.
nothing to
And so
do
this is,
Okay.
so this working group is kind of to assist.
We're just seeing if there's any way that can assist.
Yeah, so, there's certainly no harm in you assisting the Pomado group in filling out the application. And I can direct you to some individuals that have filled out those applications in the past that will help you. But that's where the money is to fix this. And the infrastructure is there, you just need to expand upon it.
Right, but we also, there's the potential that Pomado doesn't want to continue with stuff. And so we have, that's where the working group is, the thought process is, should we find an alternate location? If we assist them, which we still need to do because their liner has exceeded its lifespan by about 4 years. So either way, their system needs some love. But we also need to continue, so that addresses their system, but are they able to continue to take that in?
An alternate location, wouldn't that be another treatment facility?
Possible.
There are.
Kind of like a solid waste program.
So this is why I want to create a group, because I think there's a lot of discussions that need to happen, and I can attend the Pomado, water, meetings, but I think if they're not wanting to continue to take this influx of septic material, then we need to find an alternate, and some of that's still up in the air because their systems and such.
There aren't any alternatives.
Correct.
Gotcha, yeah.
Correct.
And the risk is that those people that need to be able to do that will go out of business and for the increased fees. Right? That's a big ramification.
Well, so Pomado has raised their rates from 75 to 200, which was still far better than what they were proposing, which was 450. And they've extended the time frame for a year, accepting that such.
So I guess where I'm getting lost, if we have a group to discuss it, if there aren't any other alternative sites in Catron County, what are we gonna discuss?
So there has been some, I've had some talks with it. We have 2 septic services within Catron County. We have Jay's Stop.
School bus and Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot. And so there have been discussions. They've spoken to property owners about alternate to the drying location, right? And it's large parcels that it wouldn't be offensive to neighbors or anything like that. And that is supposedly, it would need a liner and it would need to be, so it's a lagoon, but with not a lot of water influx.
Do they have suggestions?
Yes, and that's part of what I want to create this group.
Adrian, would the county be involved in supporting independent businesses? Is that legal?
Not independent business, but like, for instance, what do you call it, Kamato's a sanitary, it's a sanitary district, that's not an independent business, that's a governmental entity, so I mean, if we did, we can support sanitary type districts.
But an independent waste collection service.
And we can support it and encourage it, we can't put county funds to it.
I don't want to see any businesses go out of business, right? But I don't know what the county can do it seems to me the businesses that are going to be affected, they should be talking to these property owners and finding out whether or not they're agreeable.
And I believe our goal is just to get everybody at the table and to facilitate the conversations, not to run it or to be the primary. It's just to make sure that all the stakeholders are.
Well, this is Adrian, so this is the way that the county can come into play. And so say that there was a site identified for this drying place, and there was a grant available to do it. There would have to be a physical agent in place to administer that grant, right?
So if there was and actually, for instance, this is an issue that we're dealing with in Hidalgo County right now. It's very similar. We cannot be a fiscal agent for a private entity. We can only be a fiscal agent for another public entity. So, for instance, there's a subdivision in Hidalgo County that needs this sort of thing, but the county cannot act as its fiscal agent. They're having to create ultimately, if they're going to get anything, they're going to have to create a special, a sanitation district. So we can help establish that district. We can work to that end. We can encourage local business to do things, or we could be like Deb says, we could be a group that brings everyone together to the table. But in the end, we won't be able to serve it at private entities unless they go to the government.
Okay. All right. So normally we don't have, but we'll just accept right now.
Well, I'm wondering, because basically model is a subdivision, not an entity of government. I have organized government there. Can the county at least research and try to facilitate grants because Kamado can't, because they're not an entity?
Yeah, that's what we're referring to. We know of a state. It's the State Water Trust Board.
Okay.
They've got money to do this sort of thing. But Kamado is not necessarily on board.
But Kamado is a governmental entity, and the sanitation district is. They are, they're an incorporated sanitation district, so they are eligible for grants. I mean, now whether they're on board or not, story.
Yeah, I think the problem there is you said that they're not necessarily on board. They continue to take the gray water.
So they can't continue with their existing facility.
Yeah.
Right. So it really depends on how much funding they're going to acquire, right? Are they going to acquire enough funding to upsize the facility to accept?
Are they willing to do that?
That is there needs to be more discussion. So some members, and you have, I believe there's 7 or 8 members on that board. Some are, some aren't. So I think it really depends on what avenues we can come up with as a group and kind of innovate.
Isn't that the answer, to take the existing facility and upgrade it so that they can accept the dumping from these outside sources?
Well, it should, and so, because from my understanding, the engineer who designed the system has offered to come back in at no cost. At no cost to the community or to the water board, and has had zero response from the water board. So our direction would be whatever we could to facilitate that and what we could assist as a county, but but then it comes down to the board deciding to do something. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Discussion. So what if the county became the owner of the septic receptacle? Whether it's in final or implication or whatever it is, then it would be a government entity out there, sanitation, and it could be augmented. Now, if we don't have good septic disposal options, it's gonna impact the economy, right? Because housing, they won't go for houses, they might not go for businesses, those types of things. But if the county became the owner of this, you would be able to get money, you could have management at that level. And potentially we could even increase business by adding an RV then. Which we do not have anywhere nearby, we have a lot of hunters and a lot of tourists. Throwing it out there. Thank you.
The county doesn't really have the statutory authority to take on that type of water issue. That's why, Kamado is a governmental entity. It is water sanitation, water district. I don't remember what the exact name is. That is a governmental entity. They can take grants. But the county itself probably cannot, because unless you'd have to establish a water district.
Right.
Which there already is, which it already exists.
So just a suggestion, perhaps our direction would be for the county manager to continue communications with Corvado and let them know that the path to the grant will help them in the application process.
Yep.
And see if they're willing to expand their facility.
And then just research with research with the board, what direction they're willing to take, and then possibly, with Gail Armstrong and with Polonius. Yeah, Priscilla. Okay, so the direction would just be to continue communication with the Quamato Sanitation and Water Board and seeing ways that the county could assist in either grant process or improvement of facility.
Okay.
Next meeting is tomorrow evening at 5:30.
I usually don't meet on here at 5:30, so that's what I discussed with that board, is that I would not be able to make any of their board meetings without organizing my schedule. So, I may not be able to make that one.
Okay. So
I'll make the motion.
Second.
The motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item H, approval of cost care agreement for juvenile detainees with Bernalillo County.
Mr. Chairman, this is just the increase in costs for housing juveniles. There are very few places, and it's important that we maintain a contractual relationship with places that do allow them. I'm sure the sheriff can tell better than I am which places allow them. I think they're Lee County, Doñana County, maybe San Juan County, Bernalillo County. And hopefully we don't have any juveniles at the time, but we do need to respond responsibly to how we do. So I think I think that these issues should move the contract.
So this is something that has been in the past and we're just basically approving.
They're just increasing the price on this, is all they're doing.
And the price is going from what?
I don't know what it was. It's now 475.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a big increase. I think it was 425.
They were the most competitive last time we approved it. I would look it up, but go ahead.
Sheriff Hughes, how often have we had to utilize this?
Since I've been sheriff, last 4 years, we've been.
Okay.
I don't know what week the time was.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, in that consideration, is there any more discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion there for that.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item I, consideration of resolution 6-2026, salary employee leave policy.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, this is something at least to discuss. It would apply to our salaried employees. Now, this does not apply to our appointed officials. Appointed officials are under the purview of their elected officials, and this board has no say one way or the other. But basically, what it comes down to is this type of resolution has been adopted in numerous other counties. But it's basically a guideline in that salaried employees, as you know, just get paid a flat rate no matter what. They get whatever that amount is, $60,000, $100,000, and they can, they basically come and go as they please because they're professionals. They are basically, you expect generally if you're a salaried employee, you're going to be working not 40 hours a week, you're going to be working 60 hours a week, and so they don't have the same sorts of strict time constraints that other employees do. I mean, if a salaried employee needs to take their child to the dentist, they're expected as professionals to go do that, come back and maybe work into the night. Whereas an hourly employee under the law, would have to clock out, not get paid for that time, clock back in. A salaried employee would continue to receive the same amount of funds. That said, there's two things that are important about salaried employees that this does. One is most salaried employees are very dedicated workers, just like all of our salaried employees in this county, and they don't take the time off they need. So one thing that's important about this resolution is it's encouraging salaried employees to take at least 2 weeks off a year, and that's continue to be paid. So that this resolution very much encourages salaried employees to take the time that they need and wants to make it. And it says it's the position of this commission that, while we do expect you to work, working more than a regular employee, people go crazy if they don't take a little bit of time for themselves. So it encourages that. And the second it sets out guidelines. For instance, if a salaried employee, what the extent of that is. We want to make sure that if a salaried employee takes FMLA, so what is the extent of their getting paid for it? Because you should pay salaried employees to take, if they're off for a week, they should continue to get their pay. However, what point does it become, well, at this point, well, been gone X amount of time, you're on unpaid leave until you return. So this particular policy sets forth 2 weeks of sick leave, 2 weeks of vacation leave, and basically 4 weeks paid if you were taking FMLA. So that's very consistent with what hourly employees get. Again, they have much more leeway. These numbers are not set in stone. This is what other counties have done. You can do more, you can do less, or you can not do policy at all. But it's basically a guideline for those salary employees. Since they're not tracked as hourly employees, and they don't accumulate sick and annual leave as an hourly employee would.
I guess my question would be, do we have an issue with our salaried employees where they don't take an average of 2 weeks vacation a year?
I will say that some of our employees, we have to push out the door so they take that needed rest.
Yeah.
Do you?
Okay.
That's.
Yeah, absolutely. I think salaried employees are, I mean, that's why they're salaried, because they work harder than it's probably good for them.
And forgive me, Microsoft in their geniuses decided to reboot my computer in the middle of mission meeting. So I can't look it up, but wasn't there sick leave on there also?
It's really not sick leave, because sick leave is, under the personnel policy for hourly, but it's basically saying, you're guaranteed 2 weeks of sick leave, we're not gonna short you on that.
Is there a problem with that?
No, it's just kind of creating guidelines is what it is. There isn't a problem, but it's to create a guideline that's employees change. So I think it should all be kind of, everybody should have that information if they a new person comes up.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around this because I don't get a lot of time off. So like, I'm thinking, you're telling me that legally you can take a month off? I'm like, what the hell? No, so, but anyway.
Your cows will wait for you.
Yeah. So no, I don't have a lot of sympathy in this regard, and I think if you're hired to do a job, you should do the job, go up. So I think that it's important that guidelines are there. This establishes those guidelines and also benefits the county in those guidelines, maintaining healthy employees and making sure that the job gets done for the county. And for it. And is that what you're suggesting?
That is what I'm suggesting.
Okay. So not only does it hopefully help them healthy in their job, but it also holds them accountable, right?
Yep,
So
no,
it
that's
does both things.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
And again, as a salaried employee, you're going to, that is a benefit of being a salaried employee, is being able to come and go and do that sort of thing, right? But it also makes sure that, county has strict guidelines.
Yeah. Is there any other discussions?
I just can't help but saying, are we fixing something that isn't broke? Or are we adding another layer of rules and regulations unnecessarily?
I think it's not broke, but I think there's always becomes a question of how long can I have, well, I'm a salaried employee. If you don't have that, I mean, you really have a situation.
And it's
where
not
a salaried employee can say, well, you know what, I'm taking 6 weeks and I need my paycheck,
We don't have a basis installed there, so this gives us a basis.
So this isn't already in our employee handbook?
Correct, that's why it's presented.
Okay, all right, I think it should.
Guidelines work.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Motion to approve. It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item J, direction to staff regarding LATCF distribution amounts. I know we
did this 3 months ago.
Well, but we didn't discuss firm amount.
Yeah, we did. It just wasn't written down. And unfortunately, maybe it'll let me open my laptop. Go ahead, you guys discuss. Okay.
From what Becky, who, unfortunately was not able to attend today, she said there's $641,793 to allocate. That does not include what we have spent on the Black Widow reintegrator or the tractor, right? Those funds have been deleted from here because they've already been allocated. We do also need to understand that we have to expend these funds by June 30th of 26.
Okay.
Did we ever get the tribute?
Yes, that has been ordered, and I believe Tracy.
I have in my notes everything that we agreed to.
I know. And I get computers locked.
Can we come back to this?
Yeah, so let's table this until the next meeting. I know that those funds have to be, but we did allocate and we will go over that again. And plus, I think part of that, we're gonna need further information on the clinic because we were considering part of those funds going towards the clinic, so we kind of need to have
My understanding for that is that those improvements still need.
Yeah.
But it depends on it depends on what we repurpose the building. On how the funds will be used. So
I'll have all this information
Yeah.
to us. I can send it to Deb and she can shoot it over to you too.
yeah,
Okay, perfect.
so unless there's any further discussion, I motion that we table this.
I'll second.
Been the motion and second that we table this. All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, approval of DOT Fund 93100 capital appropriation project grant agreement for EV charging station project.
We don't have a K. We don't have it on our agenda.
You don't have K?
You know?
No. Does it change?
Don't know.
No, we don't have it.
We need to make sure that was that on the published agenda? For whatever reason, K is not showing up on there quickly. We just want to make sure that it was on the public agenda or
on the website?
Yeah, I picked up mine.
It's not the one I printed off of the website.
Okay.
Okay.
Then it is.
All right.
Is it? We didn't get it.
Okay. You want to, write it down?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any
Is there
discussion?
another one on there?
Yeah, I'll go get it for you.
You done
I
it?
sent the packets out. I put a note in the bottom that says the agenda has changed. So
We were gone.
Early.
We just barely got back. We just.
Anyway, is there any discussion? Yes, sir.
I guess it appears that this, that this is the legislature in 2024 is trying to, support EV charging facilities throughout the state. And my understanding that they've, identified, Catherine property in Hightown as a possible EV charging station facility. And this is a legislative capital appropriation that would give the $601,000. That said, the county does have to, if it's something, county has to decide whether it's interested in, A, we want to use the property for that, and B, want to administer this project, which means you have to hire the engineers, do the environmental clearances, well, do all the things, and then install an EV and operate the charging station. So it's really, it's a policy question. Money's there. Is it something that the county wants to use this property for? It's time and expensive.
Well, just some background on this. So I applied for the grant from DOT, the grant was issued, it does have to sit on county property. We've identified a location at the far end of the Hightown Park. There's a transformer there, so that location is perfect. There is no EV charger on the entire Highway 60 within Catherine County. So DOT was very receptive to it. Hightown, the two locations within Hightown were very receptive to it. Not so much that it captured the needs of EV users that lived within the area, but it would show the potential to bring an influx of people to Hightown.
Well, and not only Pytown, and this is I know that, Mr. Chapman brought up earlier. So Catherine County wouldn't necessarily be going into business, but you have a limited range on electric vehicles. And so these people chart out their courses when they're traveling in order to charge their vehicles and as time goes and progresses and technology improves, I think that we're going to see more electrical vehicles, but it does. Not having a charging station on a waypoint where 60 does bring substantial business to all communities, not just Pie Town.
Right.
But it causes people to take alternate routes where they have charging stations. Right?
And I would like to add that since this has become public, that I've been reached out, Palmato location has reached out saying that they are also interested in future grants. And Glenwood has reached out saying that they also are interested in possible grant funding in the future. They would like to capture something similar that I like.
Right.
Brings more revenue to the town.
Well, and that's the other thing with this grant is for so Socorro Electric on average charges, say 18 cents a kilowatt. We have the ability to charge the average going rate for these vehicle chargers, which is about 55 cents a kilowatt. Those funds will need to go into an account to maintain this unit. But after 5 years, that revenue is the county's after we've captured enough maintenance funding.
You're still having to hire somebody to monitor the darn electric station. You're always gonna put a full-time person on to monitor this place or pick up the garbage. You know what I mean? That's far-fetched.
And did I
Sorry.
understand it was 600K?
Yeah,
Is that what I heard?
600,000, yeah.
600,000. Right.
So, no, and this is part of the research process, but
What
we,
what we did 3 years ago, we went to individual businesses in Pie Town, Glenwood, and Bovado, asked them if they were interested in a charging station at their business. And of course, the tact was you're going to have people charging it, and they will be buying something from you, but they are responsible for the charging station, not the county. And everybody said no. That was 3 years ago.
It's still the same now.
So, how would the county be responsible for this location in Pie Town?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Bev, but we're responsible for the maintenance and upkeep for it.
Yeah.
Correct, there is a maintenance contract that is required, but there's also a warranty period within the unit. So those locations in Palmato and Glenwood are also interested in the exact same thing, so.
Well, as long as the business is responsible for it, I'm okay. I can tell you if we put out trash cans next to one of these charging stations, the locals will have that filled up 4 times a day.
Yep.
And there's going to be trash around it. It turns into an absolute mess. And that's just the trash. You know, I don't know about other maintenance, graffiti or you know, protection from other vehicles coming in. I think we need to talk about this more.
so table for further discussion.
The other folks that have contacted you, are they businesses?
Yes.
It's a business. It makes all the difference.
See, but the problem is that this particular grant doesn't apply to.
Correct, it has to
Doesn't
be,
apply to
it has to
business.
be,
Has to be a government.
grants have to be on county property.
Yeah.
So for those businesses that have shown interest, they would have to almost lease a section of their frontage to the county.
Oh, to the county.
Yeah, so see the grant.
Do you remember the grants that you and I were following up on? It was 3 years ago.
Yeah, and at that time, that was available for.
It was a state grant.
Yes,
to
for
businesses.
And we didn't have anybody.
I'd sure like to know
Take
if those are still available.
Yeah.
I really hesitate. Maybe it's just the
No,
trash.
I know the long term, and that's why I think we should table and just kind of, and try to do some estimations on the revenue. Because if the facility would cover, if the facility would cover its own cost and plus provide benefit to the county and to the community, then I can see like, that's a no-brainer. You know, if it's either,
Yeah.
you know, if you offered me something that's gonna cover its own cost and possibly provide additional revenue and provide a job for somebody in the county and more traffic in the county, then I would be like, it's kind of a no-brainer. But I think we should table it. Let's table it until next month. And let's post and just ask for public comment or public dissent on that. Or that would be my motion. My motion is to table until next meeting and ask for public comment or dissent and tell people to call their commissioners. Okay?
I second that.
Yep.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Approve, item 10 and item 11. Approval of checks and registers and approval of payroll. Is there any discussion? There's no further discussion. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and second that item 10 and item 11, approval of checks and registers and approval of payroll are passed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We thank everyone for attending the meeting today. Grateful for your input. And we will now motion and roll call to recess regular session and go into executive session. And that pursuant to New Mexico State Statute, section 10-15-1, only the following matters will be discussed in closed session. Motion, is there a motion that we go to the executive?
I'll motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Roll call, District 1,
Buster Green, aye.
District 2, District 3.
Make forward, aye.
Who's the second on forward?
Well,
It's 11:46. 6. Okay.
Reconvene regular session. Is there a motion?
I'll motion.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion roll call.
Vote that matters discussed when received.
Buster Green, no action taken. District 1.
Green, no action taken. District 2.
Taking forward, no action taken. District 3.
So action items. A, consideration of resolution 7-2026, updating appraiser and assessor certification compensation.
May I make a motion?
Yes, there's no discussion. Is there a motion?
It was 10:02.
I
Or 102.
motion we approve the assessor's certification with addition that all compensation be paid from assessor's 1% fund.
I'll second.
It's been motioned second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item B, consideration of EPA consent agreement.
I'll make a motion if you like.
Okay.
I motion that we direct staff to work with the EPA. I better slow down, huh? Direct staff to work with the EPA on the agreement language. Once language change is achieved, we will approve county manager to sign the agreement.
Delegate, man.
We delegate to the manager to sign agreement. That's what I said, delegate.
I'll second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Next commission meeting, September 10th, 2025, 9 a.m. Flyers News Trading Building here. We'll see everybody Friday. So.
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed.
It's
What time will
1:05.
we be here Friday?
Yeah, at least.
Okay,
I think about
all good.
You just throw trash on the floor.
Yeah.
What?
Nope.
Little
Gotta get
inside joke.